The only vegetables that we have left growing in our gardens are some spinach that we planted several weeks ago, and our harvest is going along quite well. But with the onset of the winter months coming up, let me show you a few ideas and some suggestions on ways that you can bring your gardening indoors. First of all, we've collected a few little trays that came out of the bakery at some of our local grocery stores where they've been growing or have had some muffins in them. And we've poked some holes in the bottom for some drainage, put in some sterilized potting soil, and we've planted some spinach seed and lettuce seed in different ones. And these can be used outside just like a cold frame to help get those germinated on the cold days, but you can also grow these right on your windowsill. But you need to make sure you leave that lid open on the hot days, or if it gets too warm or direct sunlight on the windowsill, it will actually burn the plants. And another thing that you could use would be the corsage box that we showed you earlier on in one of our segments. Another thing that we can use is just some trays or deep drainage trays from some clay pots. And we've put some gravel or rock in the bottom of this one to help with drainage because there wasn't a drainage hole. Again, some potting soil that's lightly mixed so it will drain well. And then we've just sprinkled in some of the lettuce seed. Now this can also be put on a windowsill, and it needs that direct sunlight or indirect sunlight to help the lettuce grow. But keep in mind that if your temperatures indoors get too warm, say over 70-75 degrees, the lettuce may taste a little bitter or even may try to bolt on you. But you can usually get a few little harvests to make some salads and have some fun with the kids as far as some projects as well. Another thing that you can also use indoors would be just collecting some of your old flats, which we've done here. And then we've got some of the 4-pack trays, and we put some potting soil in it, planted some lettuce, spinach, and we've got a black sheet of plastic in here to kind of hold the water because the tray underneath has holes in it, so we don't want the water going all over. Now some people will use this kind of as a hydroponic system by raising those up and placing them on some blocks, putting wicks, some kind of material or cloth, in the soil out some of the holes and actually let the water and fertilizer be absorbed from the bottom. And again, you can get several harvests off of a crop in a tray like this. Another idea is just to use your regular trays with the drainage hose, put your soil in, and just plant rows of lettuce or spinach like you normally would out in the garden. And some varieties that you might use would be salad bush or salad bowl, ruby, black seeded Simpson. Those are lettuce. And then of course you can use butterhead or buttercrunch lettuce as well. And a lot of times people will experiment with what is called a mesclun variety or mix that may have chives or lettuce and spinach all mixed together. And those are quite common in some of the seed catalogs. Well, these two we'll probably put in our cold frames. And we'll probably put them in our cold frame that we built a few weeks ago that we call our homemade cold frame, where we actually use some bales of straw, pack those together, and then just used a window pane to go over the top. And these will set in there real nicely on those extreme cold days where we don't want to lose our crop when the temperatures get down below freezing. Now our cold frame right over here, it's set right on top of the soil. So instead of putting the containers in here, we'll just lightly scratch up our soil and plant directly into the soil here. But just like with the containers we told you about, remember to keep those tops off the cold frames, especially on days like today where the sun is really bright, or again you'll cause the lettuce to taste bitter. Well, with the winter months coming up and it getting colder, a lot of us have a tendency to think about quitting gardening, and we just pretty much put an end to all of the gardening activities.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. You can also find more recent videos on our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.